Okay, guys, welcome to podcast episode number 30. I'm your co-host, Farmer Amir, with...
I'm your co-host, Winemaker Gaurav.
Welcome, guys. Today we have an exciting guest coming on. We have Karm Sumal. Is that right? S-U-M-A-L?
Yes.
Sumal. And he is the CEO of Daily Hive in Vancouver, also in other areas of the world. And he's coming on shortly. And today we're hoping to touch on a bit about experiences, tourism, and how things have changed for him, his company, and also how it affects businesses like ours, any agritourism destinations. His media company is focused on creating, distributing a lot of content to a lot of people, and he's involved with many businesses. So from my perspective, he has a very macro sense of what's happening in the industry.
Yeah, so online it says that his principles are hard hustle and humility. So I want to touch on that. He focuses obviously on the broader sense of the city, but he also says that he's hyper local. So I'm pretty sure he really tunes in to the local city. How is that scalable? I'm gonna ask that question. I want to know, obviously the landscape of business has changed, so I want to know how he's adapting. He has plans to expand to different cities all over the world. So how is that scalable? He's in Montreal, Edmonton, Calgary, Portland, Seattle, obviously Vancouver and Toronto. So he's got 7 major cities already within this east and west of Canada and west of the States as well. So I want to see what he has to say about that.
It's awesome. I think it's been a while since we've been on a podcast, and moving forward, we're going to continue to be putting out episodes. We have more guests lined up. We feel the experience when we're speaking to guests is the most valuable. Our time is most efficient and effective. We're able to get pieces of information which is very helpful for our industry, people who are listening to us, and for us as well in particular. And I think I gain the most knowledge when we're talking to guests. We've had some really good podcasts ourselves, but when we speak to guests, we get a brand new perspective, and I don't think that can be beat. And like having people online, which we want to do business with, is a great way to to explore what they're thinking, because then we get to adapt. We can adapt what our business growth is going to be with those individuals. So like someone like Karm, we've done business with him in the past. Well, we've spoken to him in the past in regards to distributing some of our content or some of the festivals that we've been doing to let the people know about it. And he's been very supportive of local businesses. So when you bring him onto a podcast and you're able to sit down and have the conversation, which is a little bit more in depth, and it just strengthens that relationship for both businesses and also for yourself as well. And I guess you guys get a bit of a back end scoop of what's happening with the intricacies of a business and a relationship for business leaders in a sense. In regards to the business and what's happening with us through the pandemic, we did talk about the pandemic briefly in I think our last episode. We did touch on it actually very extensively. But what's happening with us and moving forward, May 6th I think is when the new release of how the phase 1, 2, 4, which would just drop. And for our business, we've already dabbled in drive-through experiences, and it's been wildly successful, more successful than I personally thought it was going to be, which is amazing because it provides us confidence and affirmation that there is a need for people to experience farming. And so we are still going to focus on experiences and farming in a whole. The mode of transport has changed slightly, not drastically, but slightly. And we are fortunate to say that it's slightly, where some businesses drastically. Reason why I think we can say slightly is because we are a farm. We have open acreages where people can social distance themselves very easily. It's not like a restaurant which you're binded by 4 walls. You have our parcels are 10 acres plus. So when you go to a 20-acre parcel, you can you can roam freely and experience the farm by still practicing social distancing. So we're going to hunker down on that, and I think that's going to be a core piece of us moving forward and opening up the farm to let people come experience farming, is to leverage our space that we have available.
One big thing that I saw was very surprising is we went to farmers markets, which is really surprising. People haven't even tried the product, but they want to support local, and they love alcohol. So I find that really interesting, and I think if you just think out of the box and try new things, this is the right time to try new things.
100%.
Right? So in my head is like, if our farmers market was successful in terms of selling wine, why can't I go to liquor stores, not sample wine, but why can't I go there and just be there talking to customers coming in? I've thought about that. I might do that pretty soon.
Karm,
How you doing, man?
how you doing? Good?
I'm good.
Thank you
Good
for
you
being
guys.
here. Doing well. Yeah. Thank you for being here, man. CEO of Daily Hive, and you also are a chartered accountant, correct?
Yeah, I'm a CPA now.
Yeah.
Originally, everybody was like CGA, CMA, and CA, and then they merged everybody. So now I'm like a CPA, CGA, dash CGA,
Cool.
shit like that.
Do you practice accounting still, or?
No. I pay my fees every year to retain my designation, but I don't practice it on a day-to-day, but it helps in a business, that's for sure. Like having that financial background and the numbers and being able to like just read financial statements and understanding it at a quick glance, like that's super helpful. Like it's second nature to me because I went through it forever, right?
Yeah.
I talked to some of the other people like in my organization, they're like, what does this all mean?
For you, it's fluid. And so, are you involved in your operations to the extent of you look at your P&Ls on a consistent basis, and you're looking at what's happening for your labor costs and mitigation, and are you that involved, or where does that end and start for you?
Yeah, we have a great team that kind of puts that all together. I'll look at the P&L, I'll look at cash flows, I'll look at the balance sheets, I'll look at the bank statements as well. You know, just sometimes it's a quick glance of a cash flow, just to like how much money we got. Every month I know kind of how much we burn through. Like it's just in my head, like, okay, every month we're going to burn through $500,000. How much do we got in the bank? How much is our AR? And like, you just kind of piece together these little things, and you kind of know if you're going to run into a cash crunch or not. Obviously now with COVID and like the pandemic, I'm probably a little bit more involved in the finances and looking at, okay, what's our sales and our top line revenue trending look like? What does our pipeline look like? What's our bank look like? What are some of the subsidies available, if any, that we qualify for? And then where can we cut costs without slowing down the business, right?
Yeah.
And it's in a weird way, it's been a great exercise to remind everybody, like, when times are good, you kind of like, sometimes costs get out of control. You don't really like, this guy took this guy out for a client dinner. Why did he spend $500? Like, like, and now I'm like, shit, no client dinners because you can't go nowhere. In the future, like, if you're going to spend $500 with a client, then that client better be bringing us in some money, or just must be some rhyme or reason, right? So like, I think it kind of just brought us back down. We're like, oh shit, like I need to like just be a little bit more up on the expenses, because they can get out of control quickly.
You have your principles, core principles: heart, hustle, and humility.
Yeah.
Right. So we find that very interesting. Why those three things?
Well, I think the heart is a simple one. You got to care. If you're doing something and you don't care about it, after a while, it shows, and you're going to be out, right? Whether it's physically or mentally, you kind of just check out.
Yeah.
And you got to care about the people that are working with you, working for you, around you, the people that support you. I think it's very important. And like, if you don't, I don't know, it's just like, what's the point? I mean, I have my, like, those principles are at its core. You kind of want to, like, even as a human, I think it's outside of business, those are what you should care about. Heart especially, I think that one is the most important.
Yeah.
You gotta care about the people around you. And I as a business owner, sometimes you get so knee deep in your business, you forget about what you were before and who was around you before.
Yeah.
And it's easy to kind of get like blindsided and kind of get tunnel vision, and all you focus about is the business because you care so much about it.
Oh yeah.
So that's hard. Hustle is just like, if you don't hustle, you ain't gonna make it. Especially, if you're not well funded, you're financing yourself. You're risking a lot of, financial, personal health, mental health, like all that's on the line when you're trying to run a business. Hustle is, if you don't have hustle and drive, you ain't gonna make it. And then humility, I feel like it's just like, there's a time to brag and boast about your accomplishments, but at the end of the day, if that's all you're doing, then I think you're losing sight of what the real end goal is here, right? Like, it's not there's a time to be humble, obviously, and I know sometimes like people, like you need to like not be so humble and just like own what you've done and what we've built. We built something amazing. You should say that. And I was like, is it amazing? I think it could be better. Like, I don't think we're there yet, right? Like for me to be like, wait, we're the fucking best. I know we're damn good. I know we're the best in BC. That's not enough.
Gotcha.
You know? Like, and, like I don't know. It's just, it's weird. It's great, but it's like I don't know.
It's very interesting. It's very interesting you say that because I think Gaurav was looking at.
Yeah, you touched on. You said it's not enough, right? So you're in 7 different cities, right?
Yeah.
I found that very cool that you're in 7 different cities, but you're very, very forward. Have really big forward mindset. Because I went on Instagram, looked at your Instagram, typed in Daily Hive, and obviously you have those 7 cities, but you always also have like Tokyo. You also have like Hong Kong, have Johannesburg. So you're thinking far ahead.
You know? Yeah, I wanna be like. There's no like. I wanna be global one day. It takes time. I don't want to be global today, right? Obviously, but in order to do that, you know, I think there's a lot of learning still for me to do on how to scale the business outside of North America. I mean, even still just North America, like scaling it in America is going to be a different challenge and tough challenge.
Yeah. What was the difference from going from Vancouver to Toronto versus going from Vancouver or those 7 cities to go to Portland or Seattle? Like, what were the biggest challenges there to go across the border?
I think the biggest challenge across the border is when you go into America, they don't give a fuck if you're from Canada. Right? It's not something that's like, oh, you're from Canada. Great. I'm going to really give you a shot. It's almost just like, you're from Canada. Okay, whatever. Cool. Yeah. Right? They'll be like, what's your dollar at right now? Like, maybe I'll go up there. They don't care. They're very more Americana. So we got to take that approach where we don't boast about being Canadian or anything. It's just like, what does that market need? What are some of the opportunities for us to kind of go in there and win in? What are some of the quick wins that we can get? And by quick, I mean, what are the first wins we can get in 3 to 6 months, right? That's a quick win, relatively speaking, for a business. It's just like we're brand new to the game. They don't know who we are. Going to Toronto they knew. Like some people knew about Daily Hive. There's a lot of like between Toronto and Vancouver. A lot of people go back and forth between the cities, right? Like a lot of people in Vancouver now in Toronto. A lot of people in Toronto, once they kind of hit 30, they're like, I don't want to live there no more. They come to Vancouver for the lifestyle. Yeah. So you have a lot of crossover. So there was already some brand awareness out there, but that market is very saturated. Yeah. Right?
For sure. That's obviously probably went from Van City Buzz to Daily Hive, right?
Yeah, that's why we changed the name.
Yeah.
And we just looked at it as like, I looked at it, if we can make a significant dent in the Toronto market, there isn't a market in the world where we can't make a dent.
Yeah.
Because it's such a hyper-saturated market. I don't know if it's like this in other countries, but in Canada, they just focus on that one city. Everybody's concentrated, all the media is there, and everybody that they hire just becomes indoctrinated, and all they know is Toronto and the greater Toronto area, and that becomes everything.
Totally. Right? As a CEO, do you actually physically go to these cities, spend time there, kind of experience them?
I go to Toronto. I've been to Montreal. Seattle, I go once in a while. Portland, I haven't gone yet, but I probably will when we're allowed to kind of go back, just to build relationships and stuff. But we hire good people to the point where I don't really need to be there. You know, we hire the right person. They'll build those relationships for you. And to be honest, they'll carry them further than I could, you know. For me, it's just like if someone needs me there, it's, you know, we have an office in Toronto, so I do like to go there and visit at least once a quarter if I can. I try to avoid the winter. I was like, yo, I'm not coming in the winter. I'll come. So I'll come. Like I'll pack in two trips in the fall, but winter I don't want to go there. So I try to avoid winter unless there's like a client or something, or there's some event that I need to go to. And then summer, same kind of thing. Is super muggy and hot out there. Like I like the fall and the spring if you can kind of squeeze in some trips in those 2 months of like fall and spring that they kind of get.
Gotcha.
I'll try to squeeze it in there, yeah. But like honestly, it's just hiring people on the ground. They kind of know the city better than I ever could.
For sure.
I want to touch base a bit more specific on an industry and obviously what the pandemic that's going on, maybe your perspective on it as well. When you see tourism and experiences and how tourism experiences have changed, But when you, like, for example, I'm really good friends with Alexis from the Tulip Festival in Abbotsford, and she was closed. And they bring in 100,000 people into Abbotsford per, over 3 weeks. Well, that's very substantial. That's almost half of all of Abbotsford's population coming, for 3 weeks. It affects the tourism industry, hotels, roads, construction, everything is affected based off of that one event. How do you see things changing for large businesses which are dedicated on events to be successful? How have they changed, and what do you think that in the future that they should look towards, or how do you think they should innovate?
Ooh, that's a tough question. I know people are trying to do these virtual events and stuff, but I'm a big believer. I don't know if virtual events are ever gonna fully take over live in-person experiences. I don't think you can beat that. And I don't know if technology is there enough where everybody's wearing VR helmets and we feel like we're there. We're not immersed in it enough. It's just like me, like we're here, we're talking, and it feels somewhat like it feels real, but it's not like if we were straight across, it'd be just a different vibe that comes from that. You feed off of each other's energies. I don't know what event, it's going to be tough for event producers. I think about people like that are heavily reliant on their income. It's just people coming through the doors.
Yeah.
You're going to have to weather the storm, man. I mean, I think once everybody there's a vaccine out there, people feeling more comfortable, they're going to want to do this and they're going to go in droves, but then there's only so much you can handle capacity wise. Everybody's going to want to do this, but there's only so much space to do it and time. Maybe they're going to have to come up with ways to do I don't know how they're going to do it, but maybe how you go to Disneyland, you go on a fucking ride and you fall, and then they get a photo of you on the roller coaster with your face all messed up, and then you charge you $20 for a photo.
Yeah.
That's something that the Tulip Festival can do is a lot of people go there, they want photos, and a lot of people are the influencers that go there with professional photographer friends.
Yeah.
But what about the regular person that doesn't have a connection to that? Maybe they need to hire on-site photography sessions for families. And maybe that's something that, I know that they can't do in mass, but if she owns that land, could she book private tours?
I see.
Family, portrait tours.
I see.
And that could be a way to drum up some revenue.
Yeah.
Obviously it's a lot more work for the individual, but it's either that or you're taking that hit.
Yeah.
That could work. Privatizing it a little bit, making it more, someone like me, I would actually probably like that because I don't want to be sometimes I like crowds, but sometimes man, I just wish I could just enjoy this without all feeling like I'm getting in the way of people,
Are you seeing businesses innovate? Are you seeing something like this? Because you guys are great on seeing what's happening in the business world, finding that key headline, popping it to the local community, and then that business having a surge of demand. But you guys are really good at finding those key things that are new and up and coming. Have you seen anything that's been whoa, this might be a trend, or this is where the industry is moving towards?
No, not in the events world. No, I know everybody's trying to do live events.
Yeah.
They did that whole on YouTube. They aired a whole fucking series of musicians across the world doing something. I can't even remember what it was called, but I remember watching it for 5 seconds, and I was like, fuck this. It felt weird. They weren't on a stage all together. They were all in their homes, so it just didn't. I don't know. It felt like I'm watching. It didn't feel like a produced event, right? It felt too organic. I think the one industry that's trying to adapt is the restaurant industry by doing takeout booths. Maybe they had 5 locations, but instead of staffing up for all 5 locations, they centralize in maybe the most accessible location, and they just open that up and people can get their fix through that. I've seen the restaurant industry try, but even then, I talk to people in that industry, it's not the same as having your restaurants open.
100%.
It's a tenth of what you would do revenue wise.
Yeah.
And you probably don't even make much money because of the costs in that industry are insane.
It's ridiculous.
if you're not making money off of booze, you're not making much money.
Yeah. How has food culture changed, do you think?
I think a lot of people are going to be scared going to restaurants. I know, I'm one of those people that's not even that scared, but I have a child, at home. I have, parents, and then you got to think about, like, is it worth it?
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm the same guy that I'll Uber Eats McDonald's if I'm like busy, and I'm like, you know what? I don't even want to walk down the block to go get it. I just Uber Eats McDonald's because why not?
Yeah.
So the convenience of that, but then they don't make much money on that. I didn't know that when you do that, Uber Eats takes 20 to 30%.
Yeah.
So I know the price is a little bit, like, I'm paying for the convenience, and I do end up paying like way more than I should for McDonald's.
Yeah.
Right. But even then, like, they're not. McDonald's is a poor example. They're a huge organization, but you take it to a small business, 20-30% off their bottom line is a lot.
Yeah.
Do you see, like, from my perspective, I'm always thinking about looking at, our strawberries, for example, and how to make them look like an iconic and take a picture, like set them up with chocolate on top, put some sprinkles on it, put them on a stick, and take a picture with a good looking person and put them on, social media, and it pops, and I have a lineup, But do you see that changing? Because there's like some key KPIs that you need. You need to have a solid influencer that has a following. You need to have the right, product there, and then you need to have the opportunity to bring the people in and then make revenue on it.
Yeah.
Like, is that being affected in your mind, or what's happening there?
I think it's obviously being affected twofold, in a sense that the lineups, even if you're going to line up for something, you have to space everybody out. So then the lineup is, even if it's, say, the same amount of people that would eventually line up, it just looks way longer. So psychologically, some people are going to be like, man, that's a big ass line. I'm out. Right? So there's that psychological barrier that comes into play. Then there's the financial barrier. There's a lot of people that have just been laid off. So certain things become a luxury to them. And it sounds weird to say, but fresh strawberries might become a luxury for some people. Like, you know what? Maybe I'm gonna just get these ones over here. Not so fresh, but they're way cheaper, and I have a budget to balance, right?
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of, I don't know. This thing's gonna take a while to kind of play out, and it's gonna change all the time. But it's gonna fuck with people for a bit. It's gonna, it's gonna be hard to come out of this. I mean, I think certain industries will benefit from it. The stay-at-home industries, like the Netflix and the Amazons of the world, are gonna benefit.
Porn is booming.
Yeah, for them it's booming.
But then how do you see, like, influencers for perspective? Like, where do you see that moving?
I love influencer marketing. I think influencer marketing is a great value. In terms of what you get, from just, if you really think about it, just from the photography assets that they're able to give you, you hire a photographer for a day, it's $400. They'll take a bunch of shots for sure. But if they need to hire a model, that's extra.
Yeah.
And then they're going to only give you like 2-3 solid shots. You hire an influencer, you give them some product, it's a lot of work managing it, obviously, but you get more, not only is the photographer is only going to give you the assets and you got to post it on your own, but the influencer is posting on their network. And then you got the user generated content that comes out of that. There's a value in that. Like, we opened up an influencer agency about 1.5 years ago, 2 years ago. And during the COVID stuff, we've actually seen an uptick in people inquiring about influencers because everybody's online. They're on social media. So they're plugged into their phone more so than anything else. So who has the captive audience right now? It's Instagram, it's TikTok, YouTube maybe, right? But those are the ones that have that, those platforms have that audience. So you get those people and they're like, an influencer campaign, it's like, I don't know, $1,000, you can do one.
Yeah.
It just, you won't get the person with 50,000 followers, but you get one that's localized to your audience that you want, that might have 2,000, 3,000 followers, but their post is worth a lot still in the grand scheme of things, right? Because 50,000 in paper looks better, right? Because it's 50,000. But where are they from? Are they even able to get to where you need to get to if you're not online to deliver? If it's a thing where you need people to drive traffic to a specific destination via walk-up, it's a whole different game. You don't need that $50,000 person follower. You need that localized person with 1,000, 2,000. and you don't have to pay them as much, and you get 10 of them for the same price that you would probably get one.
Yeah.
For 50.
Totally agree. Totally agree.
It's a lot more work, obviously, to manage 10 people, but that's what the people pay us for, is dealing with the bullshit.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. There's lots of, and the bullshit is heavy when you're going up to like 10, 15, 20 people, because every single influencer has their own needs, and it's your responsibility as the business to provide their needs, because at the end of the day, you want to make sure they have a good experience so the followers can have a good experience.
100%. You know? And it's important that they deliver. So the follow-up is very, very key. You know, you get your report and you get the metrics. You're not chasing anybody.
Yeah.
You guys just be like, here's my money. I got $1,000. This is what I want. We go off and do all the work.
Yeah.
We take care of it all, and we go do it. And that's why people keep coming to us for that. And
I've never I've hired influencers in the past. I do all the I manage the marketing here, and so we have our own photographers, videographers. I'm working with them to design the website. But then I'll hire influencers as well, and I've built relationships with influencers, so I continuously keep going back to them. So
you guys do a good job, by the way.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. So it's not as much as work. So I keep using the same influencers over and over again. But then say if I was like, hey man, Karm, take my $10,000 that I spend on influencer money every single year. How far will that take me? Just as far, or am I still better off doing it on my own?
I mean, that I would have to we'd have to talk about it. Okay. Off the top of my head, I can't give you an answer, because if you've already built the relationship, I'm gonna be like, yo, bro, just keep that fucking $10,000 and do what you've been doing. But if you're like, hey, I really wish I had more time to do other things and try something new, but I'm bogged down in this influencer stuff, then you got to look at it like, okay, well, Karm, here's 10 grand. Sit down with my team and tell them what you want. We'll build up the campaign. You say, yeah, that works for me. These are the influencers that you think you can get me. We never share. We've gotten burnt. We don't share the names and handles anymore, because we've shared it before, and then people take off and like, oh, we don't need you no more. We do all this work and research, and then they just use it themselves. So we stopped doing that until we build rapport and trust with someone. But yeah, we would just look at it. I'd be like, look, 10 grand can get you a really kick-ass influencer campaign. On average, our influencer campaigns are 10 to 15 grand, even with small local businesses, and they're for a year, right? Okay. We because they're small businesses, so their marketing budget for the year is maybe 50,000.
I gotcha.
So they're like, I want to put 10 into influencer. Karm, can you give me that 10? And then sometimes they'll come to us like, can you also post on Daily Hive some articles and this and that? So we kind of really look at it. But then after a while, I was like, look, don't put all your eggs in my basket. I mean, although I'd love all 50, I think you need to spread it out. You need to do your own. You need to attract some of your own people, because we're just going to keep hitting the same people. And we'll remind them, but you need to go out and branch beyond ours, right?
Very true. I think that's very interesting, especially with as businesses such as ours keep growing. We're getting some high profile clients for our wine side of the business, and that's taking so much time. So my brother has less time. Whereas for even the berries, we're delivering to almost 50 stores on a daily basis, like Kin's Farm Market, Meridian Farm Market, of strawberries locally. So we keep growing. But then again, when we need to bring people to the store, influencers are such a key part of marketing that I rely on, big time rely on. For the Haunted Gourmets, we'll have just an influencer event that will bring 30 people, we'll bust them out, right? And that's such a, without that, we wouldn't be just as successful. So I completely agree with you. They're probably some of the most important pieces of the puzzle for marketing that small businesses should use.
Yeah, and remember, you also gotta remember, influencers change over time. People get older.
Yeah.
And when maybe I was an influencer maybe one day ago. I feel like our organization is an influencer, right? But I don't got no time to unless you're paying me big bucks. Yeah. I just was I look at it, I was like, dude, I ain't got time for this. I'd rather go spend it with my son,
I appreciate that.
And whatnot. But influencers change over time, and it's tough. It's not an easy industry, but I think the return is there.
Yeah.
The brand awareness that you get from an influencer marketing campaign done right, localized influencer marketing, is huge.
Some simple question for you. How much of the week are you working? How many hours a week do you work right now?
Right now, during the pandemic, 50, 60.
50, 60.
Minimum.
And how do you schedule your time off with your family?
When I have my kid, from, let's say his school ends at 3:30, 4 o'clock or whatever, from 4 to like 9, I'm all just him.
Cool.
You know, and then I focus on him. It's hard for children right now because of the pandemic. They can't go see their friends. They can't go to the playground. He's 9, so he's like, what the fuck? Like, I can't do anything, right?
Yeah.
So I end up becoming like, let's go play hockey, you know? And I was like, wait, shit, where are we going? Because we live downtown. So I was like, let's just go down to the parkade, 5th level. There's no cars there. This is we can make this our own little like hockey rink, right? So we go there, or we go biking or something, or he'll be like, hey, I want to get a Slurpee, so we go for a walk, whatever it is, right? Or I'll go cook, or watch some TV, play video games. I love that. That's my highlight of my days are those 4 or 5 hours that I get with him.
Nice.
Are so amazing. But then once he's in bed, then I'll go back in and I'll bang out some emails. Sometimes you get into a rhythm and it's like, oh shit, it's 2 o'clock.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You get in that zone, right? Like, and then you just keep going and you working, and then like, oh man, I gotta get up in 4 hours, 5 hours. So then I gotta pass out. So it's just juggling a lot of time just all over.
Do you have a solid routine that you set out throughout the day? Like every single day, this is how you stick to your routine?
I have certain things that are kind of a constant, but routines get jumbled pretty quickly, I feel. Like right now, my back hurts, so I can't go out and run, and I can't do any of the exercising that I'd love to be doing. And then I can't even go see like a chiropractor or anything either, right? Yeah. So I'm just like, how the hell am I going to get better? Like they say rest. Rest isn't going to help when you're like, I don't know how to stretch properly or anything, right? So like you just have to go with the flow and know that you can't rely on a routine as much as you would love to. It's kind of going to, right now there's no routine. And it's kind of scary for a lot of people. Sometimes for me too. Like I like to know things, but business throws you for a curveball, man.
For sure.
Life throws you for a curveball. Fuck it. Fuck business. Life throws you for a curveball. Family, friends, health comes in the way. Not in the way. That sounds bad. Like it comes up, and then you got to deal with it. And then stuff needs to go on pause, and other things need to take precedence. And that's where I'm trying to be better at that kind of stuff now. Whereas before, I wasn't really cognizant of that shit.
Very cool.
Did you ever think that Daily Hive would be where it is when you started? Or what was your plan? What was your goal? And where are you now? Or when you look back, what do you think that kind of took you to the area that you are now?
When we first started, me and my buddy Manny, we really didn't think we were going to be this big, to be honest. It wasn't a goal of ours either. We just wanted to make a little bit of quick cash on the side, buy some video games, buy some sneakers. I was still a full-time accountant. I did it for 7 years while building Daily Hive. I just wanted to have stability at financially. Like I was very like a different person when I first started it. I didn't really know who I was, I think, or what I wanted to be in life at all. You kind of just went through and you did what you kind of needed to do. And then this happened and it opened my eyes to like something that was like, there's more that I really enjoy that I didn't know I enjoyed. But it's just because I didn't really find that passion. I didn't have what that passion was, and then I figured it out. I always kind of liked marketing, but I just didn't know how I could make money doing marketing. Like I didn't was I going to work in a big ad agency and come up with like ad campaigns, or was it going to make posters? Like I didn't know, right? Like marketing wasn't a big industry in Vancouver back then when I was going to school. It's a bigger industry now in Vancouver, and now I think kids going into marketing can actually land good jobs out here. But back then it was in a big industry, so I was like, fuck it, I'm not going to get a marketing job. So we just wanted to make some cash on the side. We had a little fun, and then it just became something that I loved doing, that I realized I would do this for free. And I'd get up in the morning, I would work on, at the website, lunchtime website, come home, eat, website. So instead of playing video games or watching TV, I would do the website. And that's when I knew it was like, I like this. And then you just meet people, and then people come across, like my partner Sharon, like, she helped me a lot early on, and just like, ideate, and like behind the scenes was very, very, instrumental in the success. And like other people coming in, like, I didn't know what PR was. And then I met someone through Twitter, Crystal, like she was in PR, and she taught me like, this is how PR works, man. This is what you need to do. And I was like, oh, okay. That was an eye opener for me. And at that instant, we kind of went up a notch. And then I met like a couple other people, and we just layered it on to the point where eventually it was just like, I was like, this is what I want to do. How do we make money doing it? And I didn't need to be rich. You know, and I'm not rich right now anyways, but like I just needed to make enough to be able to still live in Vancouver. Where I was born, I never wanted to leave the city, and it was getting expensive. So what can I do to maintain a home in the city? And that's all my goal. And at the end of the day, that's still my goal. Like it's
so cool, man.
I want to stay in the city, and I want to have fun with my friends and family, and with the company. You know, build it, have fun.
Yeah.
It's hard sometimes. Sometimes you got to be an asshole to people to kind of motivate them and get them to do things, but that's part of life. There's like no like plan. Now I have a plan and a vision.
Yeah.
But when we started out, I wasn't like, let me write up a business plan. Writing a business plan, I hate doing that shit. I have a business plan. It's right here.
Yeah.
Right?
I like that.
I got one more question. I think this one's cool because it kind of touches on more macro and what we've been talking about. But when you look at, you know, some of the like Steve Jobs, Gary Vee, Tony Robbins, some of these people who have styles and personalities, where do you think that your style and your personality fits into that? And how do you, like, in regards to managing people, you know, because you're saying sometimes you got to be an asshole and, you know, tell them to motivate themselves and get them going. Is that, where do you see yourself fitting into that?
I think at the end of the day, my style, I don't know, like I can't speak to Gary Vee and Tony Robbins' style. Like I don't know how much of what they say is what they do. You know, behind the scenes, they might be, I don't think they're totally different characters, you know, but they have to also, they're brands in themselves.
Yep.
Right? They've built a brand. They are a brand as individuals. I'm not a brand as an individual. The brand is Daily Hive, and it'll always be the brand. For me, it's just like, at the end of the day, you got to care about the people. And sometimes caring about the people means you do need to kick them in the ass to motivate them because they're getting complacent and you know that they can do more. And you see them kind of withering away and not achieving what they should be able to achieve. But you got to get under before you can be an asshole, you got to kind of dive under the surface and figure out why they're like this. Is it because they might be having health problems, you know, whether physical or mental. Maybe they're going through like personal relationship problems. Maybe their family members are sick. Maybe they're just burnt out. I don't know. There might be some fundamental things that are underneath that are causing the behavior that you just see. And in order to do that, it comes with a lot of communication, which in business I'm really, really good at. You know, then comparison to my personal life, I'm not that good at communicating. But in business, I'm really, really good at it. I'm not great, like fucking amazing communicator, but I'm good enough to like figure out some stuff and talk to people. It's just look, what's going on? You want to talk or you don't want to talk? If you don't want to talk right now, that's cool, but know that I'm here. But I notice that something's up and I just want to know what's up. And if you don't tell me, I'm going to assume X, Y, Z are all good and you're just underperforming. Or you don't agree with something that's going on. But if you don't tell me, then I'm just going to go in on you. But if you tell me, we're good. But you have to get to that point where they're comfortable in telling you that there's something up. And that takes time. You know, that takes a lot of effort.
Do you have any tactics for like small businesses to accomplish that? Say if you have maybe 15 or 20 employees, like anything in particular you would implement on a consistent basis that you would do?
When you meet with them one-on-one, don't always just make it about their work performance. I think that's the easiest thing. Start it with like, hey, how's it going? How are you? And be genuine about it. Like, don't just like, okay, I gotta ask, hey, how's it going? Okay, cool, good, yeah. Like, no, like if the conversation in that one-on-one is to slowly peel back the layers and you're like, holy shit, I'm getting somewhere. Yeah. Forget the performance. Focus on what's what in front of you and then the human in front of you. You're never gonna get them to work as hard as you. They shouldn't.
Yeah.
Not their business. Anybody that thinks that anybody should work beyond, you know, put in the same hours as me, that's great if you do. I would appreciate the hell out of you. No, don't make no mistake about it. Yeah. But it's not guaranteed. Like, I don't expect it. But I know there's individuals that do that, and I was like, holy shit, like that's dope. Yeah. And I'll remember that. And then, you know, obviously you can say that it doesn't impact like who's going to move up in an organization, but if they're putting in crazy effort and their output is amazing, like they're going to get it. As opposed to someone's output's great, but you know that ultimately what you need to take the organization is someone that puts in a little bit more. You got to weigh it out, right? Like, so it's just like be human with individuals, I think. At the end of the day, just be human.
I can tell you're like just this conversation. The first time we've had open conversation, we're brothers here, everyone's here. You're very genuine, and I appreciate that. Everything that you think is coming off the cuff, and I think that's one of the key things for our social media success is just to be transparent with the consumer and let them know on a day-to-day basis what's happening, regardless if it's like what we spray on our pesticides or how the wine is produced. Just let them know what's going on and have that conversation, which I think sometimes businesses can be scared of doing, regardless if it's managing with people or if it's selling a product. They can say, oh, I don't know, I don't want to let them know what I'm spraying on my pesticides or what I'm spraying on my strawberries. Listen, man, everyone's spraying something on their strawberries. Let's talk about it. You know, let's talk about the foundations that our business has and how we are eating what we are growing, and we want families to be eating the same thing. It's just having genuine conversation. And yeah, you're totally right. I couldn't agree more with that. That's great.
I think just shoot the shit with people, and you learn a lot more than you would ever in structured interviews and questions. Even when I do interviews with people, they're not structured at all. Mm-hmm. I can if I have a conversation and I carry a conversation, you peel back the layers of what that individual is all about. You can get down to what they are at their core.
Very cool.
And if you can get down to that, you'll know if there'll be a long-term fit or a short-term fit. And sometimes you just need a short-term fit.
Yeah.
Yeah. But sometimes I like long-term players, and I know we got some solid motherfuckers. Like, we got some great people on our team.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, damn, like, you worked so hard for us as a team. Like, it's so nice to see.
So cool.
And you can never, I always genuinely feel like you can never repay them enough.
Yeah.
You know, because at the end of the day, we're a big media company, but we're going up against juggernauts that have government funding, that have, they're lobbying for funds, and they have corporate backers, they have all these relationships that I'm still trying to carve out. I'll probably never get, because we're the new kids on the block, and they don't like us, so they're probably going to try to suppress us, which is fine as well.
Yeah. Who do you see? Like, who are some of your biggest competitors? Like, what do you think that you're up against?
In BC, nobody. We're the biggest in BC. We're on our way to becoming really big in Alberta. I think there is competition. There's the Narcity of the word Narcity. It's a different type of content, but similar model. But in a localized market, it really depends on the market we're in. In BC, we're at the top. People are coming for us. In Alberta, I want to go after the Calgary Herald. I think we've beaten Avenue Calgary Magazine, or whatever the hell it's called, and there was a bunch of other ones. We've beaten them. We're now behind Calgary Herald, so that's who we want to go after. But it's going to take some time, and we're not. I have to look at the cost benefit of shooting to beat them. What's the benefit of that other than pure numbers? Is it monetarily advantageous to be better than them, or should I just be number two and it's more highly profitable to be number two, right? In Toronto, we're top 5 now, in my opinion, but I'm happy with top 5. I want to be number 1, but they have, come on, everybody, like I said, everybody covers them. CBC, Global, Torstar, they're so well covered. Even on the sports scene, every fucking TSN, Sportsnet, all they talk about is Toronto shit. How are you going to carve a niche? You have to find a different kind of angle there. But to be top 5 in that market's great. Montreal, I think we're laggard a little bit because we don't do the French. But there's not much competition out there, so if we just put some resources that way, we can kill it. Yeah. In Seattle, Portland, man, I'm competing with the small little blogs right now. We're so new. So the competition there is Francine's Food and Chew or whatever. We're going up against them right now, and we have to look at them and beat them, and then we got to go after the second, and their local papers, whatever the Georgia Strait is of theirs, and then we kind of need to go after the Seattle Times. I can't remember what it's called right now.
Is Vayner the Vayner Media is that too big of a global brand for you guys to come after yet, or what do you? Well, think?
They're different. They're agencies, so they do their media agency. Who I'd want to go after is Vice, BuzzFeed.
Ah, yeah. Okay, there we go.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
I want to be that big.
That'd be cool.
But I want to be profitable. Yeah. So to be big and profitable at the same time. That's hard, man. Media is a tough industry to be in.
BuzzFeed would be dope. That's what I'm talking about. Like that
I mean,
big.
that's even they're having struggles. They're not making money yet.
Shit.
So like, how do we do it where it's sustainable, profitable? What does that model look like? How are we different from them? Those are all the things that you got to look at. Like, and in Canada, I want to beat the CBC.
Cool. Yeah.
I want to do more page views than them.
Yeah. When you get that big, there's a struggle between being local and corporate, right?
Yeah.
I think you would say that, right? So like we just had a meeting with Save On Foods, and they're gonna bring on our wine, and they looked at our label. It's very authentic and country, and he said like people are trying when they become corporate, they're trying really hard to become local. Yeah. Right. So how do you as a media company trying to get that big? How do you balance that? Because it says you want to be hyper local, right? So.
Yeah. So you got to hire hyper local people.
Yeah.
We got to still make a mandate. We have a big thing like 80% of our stories still have to be very localized. We got to dig into the communities and talk about the people in the communities that are doing cool things to localize it. Because that element of news is slowly eroding away because it's not a profitable way to do things. That's why everybody goes national. It's easier. You write, one person writes a story, they share it across the network. Instead of 7 people, 20 people writing individual stories, the costs are higher, right? Yeah. And your traffic will probably be the same. So true. It's one of those things where like you have to get the economies of scale, but you still want to stay true to what you are so that you can not only get the big brands to want to advertise with you, but small local brands will still want to advertise with you. And that's the conundrum that you kind of run into. It's a hard one. But it's a challenge for us, and I love it.
Yeah. Cool, man. Yeah.
Thank you for your time, man.
Yeah, I have a couple asks. Can we send you some wine? Can we send you a case of wine?
Bro, you think I'm gonna say no to booze?
Okay.
Yeah, we can take that offline. You can send me some wine. I'd love to work with you guys. Like, I honestly never met you guys in person, but I've heard good things about you guys from Summer.
Appreciate it, Summer. Yeah, she's great.
And she's an amazing human being. And, she always talks about, she's like, these guys are awesome. They're doing some cool shit. I was like, I know they're doing cool shit because they hired a PR person. Like, you get it, right? Like, already you're ahead of other people because you've taken this one step. And, like, I'd love to see if there's any way I can ever help you guys. Just let me know, man.
I think so, man. I like top of my head, I would love to have more of my content featured by you guys, but then as I'm managing more, like today, man, my day is so busy. And I started trading stocks in the morning with my brother. So we're trading stocks in the morning. So we're just dumb, right?
We get up at 6 a.m. every day.
Are you guys doing day trading?
Day trading, bro. You too?
I know, not no more. I had a horror story with day trading. I tried to do day trading where I get up in the morning and I'm on the TD website trying to do some shit. And I lost like $30,000.
Holy shit!
What happened in 2008?
Oh man!
So I didn't know. Obviously, nobody knew 2008 was gonna happen.
Yeah.
So I got in, started doing day trading.
Yeah.
At the height of the fucking stock market bubble.
Oh my god!
I was looking at a couple of some money here, some money there, and then it all came crashing down. And
shit!
I lost so much money. I had to dig myself out of that hole.
Oh my god!
To this day, I'm like, you know what? I don't have free money.
Yeah.
Like, that $30,000 wasn't mine, right? I borrowed that fucking money from the bank. I had to repay it back. And then I was like, you know what? No more stocks for me until I'm like wealthy enough to be like, I got an extra 20 grand. I'm gonna pump it into something.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna let it ride.
Yeah.
Now I can't mentally take the stress on watching the markets go up and down.
Sure.
The volatility, don't want it, man. Not right now. Not when I have a kid to raise, a business to grow. If I didn't have a business, like if I maybe didn't have a kid, I have some free time to do that kind of shit and research them. Right now, everybody's telling me buy Air Canada when it hits this low.
Yeah.
If I had money, I would have put it into Netflix when it was under 300.
Yeah.
I had nothing. I was like, what am I gonna buy? 2 stocks? Forget it. My return $300. Forget it. It's not worth it right now.
Shit just takes up time, right? And it just
does, yeah.
But like we're young, like me and my brother. I'm turning 28 this year. Fuck, I forget how old I am.
Yeah,
turning 26. Yeah.
You're not, bro. You look like you're 33. But
I think that, but I'm almost 40, bro.
Shit. So anyways, but as as we're advantageous, our business is very spread across the board too, though, and that is because of how my parents have set it up. My parents are very smart. So my brother, he does all the wine. I do more of the farming, and then the marketing, and then we have events that I help manage as well. And I'm very creative in my mind. We all are. My mom's very creative, but then we have like our goat yoga. We have our strawberry wholesale, which is like a $500,000 company on its own. We have these $100,000, $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 companies within a company that all need their own help and growth and energy, in a sense. But then they need resources and capital and the whole management. And that's pretty much how our brain is. So when I ask you the question of routine, like I understand like your business is spread across the board as well. And that's just how our brain is too, right?
Your mind is like always on, right?
Yeah, always. It doesn't stop. We're sitting at home. It's 11 o'clock, and I get a text from my mom saying, "We should do our haunted corners like this." I'm like, "Bro, it's 11 o'clock. Like, let me turn it off." My mom.
Let me shut off for the day.
Yeah, it's just instilled in us. So, in a sense of us working together, we're always looking for people that we can grow together with, right? And maybe it's just that we're focusing and working together on the marketing. But if there's like, hey, listen, I want to be involved in the wine business, or I want to be involved in the farming business or the tourism business, we're happy to bring people in and have a conversation of how we can work together.
I like that. As I get older, I want to leverage a little bit of what I know and learned in the last 10 years to work with other people to see if we can help successfully grow maybe more together, bigger.
One thing that I know, man, is that attention is the number one asset that anybody can have when they're trying to get something sold, right? Yeah. Attention. And who has attention? Karm does.
Yeah, we got everybody's attention in this market, right?
Right. What we did with Save On Foods is we had their team come in and we'd give them a tour of the farm. They sat down, they had the wine. My mom made some of the preserves that we had, and we did like a wine tasting. We could even have you guys in the team or whoever wants to come by and try and see what the farm's about, right?
We
and
love
just
that.
Sit down
love that.
and have a conversation. Yeah. So
let's man, let's take that offline. Let's continue the conversation. I'm glad we did this.
Yeah, cool.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate that.
Definitely, Karm.
And let's see what we can do, bro.
All right, man. Appreciate it.
We're great.
All the best, Karm. I'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
Yeah. Cheers.
Take care. Bye.